Back for another how-to video. This time we're going to be running through how to reuse your yeast if you're using a Fermzilla. It's a video that we've had a lot of requests for users of Fermzilla. I mean, typically we would either use powdered yeast or like do a yeast starter, take a sample of that yeast starter, sort of store it, and then when it's time to brew again, we kind of use that to build up another starter.
I think it's a little bit more clean if you compare to reusing the yeast. But reusing the yeast is also, there's a lot of home brewers that do, so we decided to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we certainly had requests to do, and there's not a lot of info out there. So, Raphael, what are the considerations when you're trying to reuse the yeast in a Fermzilla?
Okay, so to start off, if you go online and ask, how can I reuse my yeast? The idea is theoretically do a light beer towards a dark beer, a light beer in alcohol towards a strong beer in alcohol as well. If you have too much alcohol, the yeast has suffered a lot of stress, a lot of cells will be like dead, and you might throw some off flavors for the next beer. But in this case today, I did it completely different because I want to show how to rinse the yeast as well. So I had previously brewed a stout, where I use a bit of coffee beans. So there was a lot of things in the trub, and that's another thing. Sometimes people just rack the beer and top up with the fresh wort, but again, you're gonna have so much like hop matter in there, trub, like in that case, coffee beans. So you want to try to get rid of this and try to get as much as you can of just the yeast. So that's what I did. I'm gonna show you in a few shots.
Cool. Let's get to it.
Okay, so here we are. I'm just unscrewing the jar. That's gonna be a bit of mess, which is quite hard to avoid, I think.
You can stick a plate under there if you like, or you can just clean it up.
Yeah, like I said before, that's it's a strong stout. So it was a breakfast stout, so there was a bit of a hop there. So there'll be hops in the trub, a bit of coffee beans as well.
Star sand on the lid there?
Star sand on the lid. That's 1 liter jar, I think. It's a lot of yeast. You don't need that much. That's why you don't want to throw all this shit in your fresh beer. So what I did, I tried to like rinse. That's why I'm showing the way we do. Boil some water, let it cool down to room temperature. It's quite cold at the moment. And then that's the first step. I just open the jar. Try to get rid of a little bit, like a third, so you have some space for the water.
Still plenty of yeast in there?
Yeah, still plenty of yeast. And then you pour the water, give it a shake, so you kind of split the yeast from the trub. And I didn't shoot the shake in there, but that's it. Put in the fridge, let a yeast drop, and you can start to see it kind of start to separate the yeast and
the bottom,
and the old beer. That's just old beer and a bit of water now. And I've done, I think, 3 or 4 times. I'm not gonna show every single one, but that's what happens. You just pour the top. You can
start to see the beer start to thin out on the top,
yeah,
right?
and it starts to get a little bit more clean as well, a bit lighter. And then you get rid of the top, as you can see. Pour more water, give another shake.
So how many times in total do you not typically do that?
These, I think I've done 3 times, 3 or 4. Not quite sure, 3 or 4. I could have done a few more if you want a little bit more clear. But there you go, a bit of star sand again. But because I'm using this yeast for a brown ale, it would not affect it too much. So there you go, that's a shake. Let's go for the next video. So keep going.
So what are we seeing here? We're seeing trub and the coffee beans and stuff
at the
bottom?
very bottom is the coffee beans. That's the part you don't want, and a bit of a hop matter as well. The middle is the yeast, and the top is just the old stuff.
That kind of lighter stuff.
That's the last step. I'm gonna pour into a smaller container. It was previously sanitized as well with star sand, and I'm gonna try to leave the trub at the back behind.
Also, the stuff that's got to settle on the bottom.
You don't want it. Yeah, so I just.
So you filled it right to the brim there. So obviously, to limit oxygen. Is that the
exactly?
intention?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. Again, we don't do that very often because the more you play with the yeast, there's more chances of contamination. Make sure you use a lot of star sand, a clean bench all the time. And then I'm just transferring the beer into the fermenter there. I no-chill this beer. I think I brewed this beer 1 or 2 days before. Transferring the beer.
And you're doing that on the floor because you modified your stand. And
correct, yeah.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it. And then the last shot is just the container. As you can see a lot of clean yeast there.
Nice.
Just pour a little bit, give a stir. So you pour everything.
Excellent.
And that's pretty much it.
So that's cool. I mean, like I say, we want to do more of these kind of how-to videos. So if there's things specifically you want to see, Raphael's got tons and tons of experience, and if there's videos you want to see both on the Fermzilla, the Brewzilla, or anything else, please get in touch. If we don't know, we've got a bunch of really good community that we spend time with, and I'm sure will help us put something together. And this channel is beside from being brew days and how-to videos and beer tastings and brewery, it's quite broad. It's brew, taste, style, and we want to make sure that we're bringing you guys videos that you want to see. So please get in touch, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us, encourage us to do more of these videos. Until the next how-to video, cheers.
Thank you.